got it. Let's see. That's what bingo. Yep, it is.
Huh?
True.
So, apologies. I had a Java's face on my head. I just can't be bothered, man. So, just intent of a chase. I'm gonna head to this part of town, and this is where we're gonna go first. And we should be able to handle it just fine. Ah, the ice fades away. Who would have seen that coming? The star makes me invincible. Hypothetically, I don't know how stars work, it's just how it works here. Oh, bows fade out too, that's no good. Do you think half of this stuff is copyrighted? Everywhere you go, you're gonna have something that's copyrighted. I mean, like, either you somehow hire a music producer, which, you need, or usually need music. Well, not music, money is really $12 a pop or whatever. I don't know. Ouch. That's fine, it's just a minor setback. You need cash and a music producer in order to, like, not, well, you can make it yourself, I guess, but I'm not really sure if I'm that of a musical mind. I've never made a song before. Heavy asterisk. Because when I tried, it was completely garbage, to say the least. It was horrible. Sure, it was fine for the first attempt, but I'm not getting anywhere, man. If I try harder, maybe, because to be fair, what I was using was not music to anyone's ears. Well, all the ones that are copyrighted are usually really good songs. Because obviously, they're made by people who know what they're doing. And that's just a given. As much as I don't like moving platforms, this has been at least better than, I think it's called, like, the taverns, the icy taverns. Because I need to hop to here. I'm not trying to tot as much as I did last time because I think I put way too much filler in the last. Do I even call it an episode? Because I'm not talking about the whole Stellar Labs. Right times you just harvested by a town. I have a feeling I forgot to talk to you earlier. However, if you want to leave the dialogue, then play Dota's place yourself in. I don't know what to tell you. I'll leave the location in the description. I got that. No! Ah! I forgot it was a stop there. Still not nearly as bad as taverns. That's for sure. As a stepping stone, whatever. The section seems easy. Yep. Wants you to wait, but I'm on the same flow as and dead to jump over this. And I've had way harder challenges than just this. The first token, which is called Molting Icebergs. Checklist done.
Huh?
On that stop, Blizzard Mountain again. Not exactly up all the way to the top of it, but where we heading is we're gonna need to climb up here and investigate what that T door is. It shouldn't be too hard. I had a hunch. Hello? Where did you last put it? Still thinking silly, but right now it's not my business. I'll have to check what's up there later. Not right now. I'll probably leave some here later, I don't know. Right now is not the time. Okay. Glacier's outpost, huh? Neat. Don't talk about that. Absolutely light wood. Watch this. Watch this. Never mind, don't watch that. Hey, we have another 8-ton. We need to toss avatar it. There we go. We don't go up there yet because we don't have an 8-ton of bait for damaged piece of a wall. I had some insight knowledge from some people that on my side vests, all camera. That is hear me drooling over my spit right now. people that like Pete if they hear streaming if like start a video with some this statement is not scary, and I'm not the kind of person who's like get into a very scary situation though. Like high pitch noise. I'm not the type of person to do that, no. If I was scared, then I'd be not there in the first place. That's just how things are, man. That's how it works. Or if I was there, I just wouldn't want to be there? I suppose I almost fumbled that so bad. There we go. Toss that, there we go. That's a balcony, it leads nowhere. I can't see what I'm aiming. This pot shouldn't be too hot. Yo. How did you get in here? I found the tea. How you doing, man? Take time though. I gotta show at least most of this. Because who knows, someone could be searching this up and wonder, oh, how do I get this? And how do I get this? Without having to search it up on like the Wikipedia. No, not Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia, but anyone did edit. I mean, there's literally a wiki for this. Damn. I've had to like actually edit it at some point. I remember why. It's just not relevant to bring up any more details. It's mainly because there was simply no information on that, or it was missing very key details. That's all. And plus I wrote up notes like to, you know, the people who actually write on the videos. Yo, if this you then change this if you want. So far they haven't because they don't have a reason to. Simply because oh, it's simply so fast. Taught so much, I'm back here. Simply because there's no reason to do so, because it's all important information. Anyway, fourth token, Delicious Outpost. Next up will be, I'm not sure. I'll have to check chat list after, but that's basically it for now. I'm not gonna actually. Yeah, I am. By the way, the main reason why I mute the music recording is simply because most of it is copyrighted. I mean, that makes me a hypocrite, doesn't it? Anyways, that's all for now. That's the Glacier Outpost and the Icebird, Melting Icebirds. Yes, I remember. Bye.